Welcome back to another award booking demonstration video, and today we're looking at an award booking need for Diago. He is looking to fly himself and 3 other people to Brazil. So let's see how we can help Book Diago book this flight. Hey everyone, I'm Waller's Wallet, and my channel is all about credit cards, credit card rewards, and showing you how you can use your points and miles to travel for less. So that's something that interests you. Consider subscribing and turn the bell notification on as well. Also, consider giving the video a thumbs up. It really does help the channel out. Now, Diago, I said, is looking to fly 4 people in coach class. He has 144,000 membership reward points, 80,000 thank you points, and about 56,000 Delta Sky miles. He's looking to leave right around or right after February 10th, returning somewhere in the ballpark of March 7th. Now, Diago, there was actually a few options to get you to VIX, the airport you're looking to fly to, on one itinerary, but it's going to cost you more miles compared to actually breaking it into 2 separate flights or 2 itineraries. So that's what we did here. I broke this up into two different itineraries because I think it's going to be a better option for you. And there's one option that just really stuck out and the reason why I did this. Now, one thing I always like to do is I always like to look at the cash price, because sometimes what people get caught up into is looking to transfer their points and miles when it might actually be better just to pay cash or use your points as cash. So the first thing I did is I actually looked up, and we're going to start this right now, from Boston. You're looking to fly to VIX on, I end up choosing, was it February 11th to March 7th. We need to change this to 4 people. So for 4 adults, you're looking at roughly $3,400 to $3,500 a ticket. And you can see they all had multiple stops as well. So that's kind of our baseline here. And with the points you have, it would be a really poor value to use your points as cash here. So we're looking to transfer our points here. Now, what I ended up doing is I broke this up into, I said, 2 different segments. In the first segment we actually broke this up into was looking to go to Sao Paulo. And you can see it's not much cheaper with using your points here. So we are now looking to transfer partners. And where I looked actually was starting with Oneworld, and I looked at American Airlines. So one way, let's do round trip actually. Boston. We're gonna look at VIX just to show you this here for 4 people. Gonna fly out February 11th, returning back on the 7th, just like we did here, or just like we did with the cash price ticket. So you can see American Airlines doesn't even show the possibility to fly to VIX using your miles. That doesn't mean that there's not actually flights there. Because what we want to do is use our points. We want to jump over to Qantas. Qantas is another Oneworld partner. And we're going to go ahead and use Boston to VIX, February 11th to March 7th for 4 adults. That's going to tell you you're going to have to go to the US website. That's perfectly fine. Click on through. We have this 11th. Now there's nothing on the 7th to fly home, so you either need to choose the 5th or the 8th. You said you were right around that time, so I'm going to pick the 8th, but you could see the 5th would work just as well. But I would probably end up choosing the 8th just to stay another day if possible. So you can see here we have American Airlines on 2 flights flying into GRU, and then you would take, to Sao Paulo, GRU to VIX on LATAM Airlines. So, and it's an option for both. So it is available to book by partners, so it should be available for other airlines to book as well. Now, I would not use Qantas miles at all. It's a really poor value in this situation, but it shows that there's award availability here. Now that's important, and I'll show you why it's important when we look at the miles here. But when we go back to American Airlines, it will show us space, same dates to GRU, which when you look at Qantas is where we're going to fly into anyways. So American's not showing us this last segment, and that's okay, because it's still going to be cheaper by breaking it up into 2 segments here in just a minute. And you can see, okay, now we're getting the opportunity to pick our flights. Now, when you go ahead and pick your flights, it's important to look through all the options, because they're hidden sometimes on American Airlines websites. So you'll see you can fly to Boston to Miami, Boston to LaGuardia, then hop over to JFK. And we'll come back to this in just a second, because the miles we're going to be using is Asia miles. Now if you've been watching the award booking demonstrations, I haven't used Asia miles yet because there just hasn't been a decent option to use them, or an option that maybe might have been easier for people to use in general. But this time Asia miles are going to come in handy. Now, something you want to know is that you can't book American Airlines flights online with Asia Miles. You have to write down everything and then call into them. And what's great about Asia Miles is that it's a distance-based award chart. Now, if you're not sure how to check the distance base, I will show you here in just a second. But if you're looking to book with partners, such as a single partner, which is American Airlines in this situation, you're basically going to add 5,000 miles to this cost. So whatever these are, if it's a one partner booking, you're going to use this chart here and add 5,000 miles. If you're going to be using two carriers or more, or two carriers, you're going to end up going down to the One World Multi-Carrier Award Chart. And this is based on total distance flown on a round trip ticket. Okay? So let's go ahead and show you why booking this as two separate ways is actually be better for you. So remember, it's a distance-based award chart. So how do we find distance-based? GCMap is great for this situation. Absolutely fantastic. So what we want to do, if we were to go ahead and, let's go ahead and start with our options here to get you all on one itinerary, because that would be ideal for you. You just book a round trip this way. We're flying from Boston to LaGuardia, JFK to Sao Paulo to VIX. So, and then basically the reverse on the way home. So, BOS, LGA, JFK, GRU, VIX, GRU, JFK, LGA, BOS. Now, if we look, the entire distance for your flight flown here is 10,787 miles. That's a lot of distance. But now we want to go check on our award chart. Now, because remember, this option here, you're booking with two different carriers. So when you look at Asia Miles, you're going to want to look at the multi-carrier chart. So we're just shy of 11,000 miles. So scroll down to the bottom here, and for that would put you in award zone 8, which would be 90,000 points round trip per person, which is a lot of points. I wouldn't even recommend that because that's just so many points. Or other options potentially if you wanted to do that. But now we want to look at using just a single carrier of American Airlines. Now, while I said it was important to keep these in mind, it's because it's distance-based. We want to make sure we're conserving the most, like reducing our distance as much as possible to give us the most bang for our buck. Now, you have this option here of Boston to Miami to GRU. Now, if we want to take a look, Boston to Miami to GRU, one way, and it would be basically on the reverse. When we look at that, that's 5,330 miles, 5,330 miles one way, which is going to put you back. Now we're going to go up to the top here because this is a single award booking. It would put you into this long zone. Now, long zone from the Americas is long zone type 2. So you want to look there. If you're not flying in the Americas, it would be long zone type 1. So that would be basically 35,000 miles one way per person. But we can do better. Because if you go start looking through, I'm not even going to click this one here because you could do it, but it's a pain in the rear end. But when you start looking, when I was searching this yesterday, if you go down to page 3, you'll notice there's an American Airlines flight connecting completely to JFK, which is awesome for us. Because now we want to go back to GCMap and basically replace Miami with JFK. Now that knocks us down to 4,932 miles, which is solid for us because that now knocks us from zone long type 2 to medium, which at 22,000 miles, remember we add 5,000 miles one way per person, that puts us at 27,000 miles one way per person plus taxes. That's a hell of a lot better than trying to book this out for 90,000 points. Now we need to get you home because you gotta get home unless you want to live there, which that's fine too. Now what we want to do here is basically in the reverse, GRU to JFK to Boston. So now basically if we want to click this out, it's the reverse. So you're still looking at this 4,900 mile flight. That's going to be 54,000 miles round trip per person plus taxes and fees. Now, Asia Miles does not pass on fuel surcharges to American Airlines flights, so it should be pretty similar to what you see on American Airlines. So to see what you see on American Airlines, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Page 3, JFK, and continue. Now, for 4 people, it would be $234.52 in that ballpark of taxes and fees. It probably won't be exact, but it's in that general ballpark. We're not talking thousands of dollars here. That's a lot better than what your overall pricing was going to be, and you're paying 216,000 miles total to get you there. Now, that's great. We've got you to part of Brazil. We need to get you the rest of the way there. Now, you have a couple options here. It really depends on how you want to book this, but we'll go over both options. First option is to look at the cash price. That's always the great option here. VIX, and I think we're leaving on the 8th, so we're going to go ahead, put you from the 11th to the 8th. Now, for 4 people, you're looking at about $260 cash price if you're looking to pay for it. If you weren't looking to pay for it and you wanted to use miles, there is an option in South America with your Etihad miles to fly on GOL, and that's actually a really solid option in general for people, because what's great about Etihad and GOL's relationship, it's another distance-based award chart, and this can offer some really fantastic value for you depending on the time you're going or even the cost of tickets. Because for 0 to 500 miles, it's only 3,000 miles one way per person. Now we want to head back over to GC Map because we want to check our distance, GRU to VIX. And look at that, 453 miles. That puts us in this zone right here. So 3,000 miles one way per person plus taxes and fees, which should be right around like $10 or $15 a person. It shouldn't be hundreds of dollars. So that's a really good option for you if you want to use your points and miles to fly there. And on the way home, it would be the same cost. Now, how do you search for award space to use these? Because that's not an option you typically think of. Now, you actually have 2 options. One, you can use Expert Flyer and you can look and set up alerts and you can take a look there. The other is actually to search Delta. So we hop over to Delta. We're going to look, let's do round trip. Okay, Delta. All right, we'll do one way then. So Delta is going to be the way we want to search this here, and that'll actually show us. Now Delta is dynamic in their point currency, but for 12,500 miles, you should be able to book those via Etihad miles to fly on GOL. Now you can see Delta is charging 12,500 miles, and you do have Delta miles, but why would you spend 12,500 miles when you can spend 3,000 miles, right? So you see the options here. You want to write down these options just like you would with the American Airlines flights. And with these, you're going to call Etihad and you're going to book this flight to VIX from GRU. Now, on the way home, let's flip these around. And we're going to check the 8th as well. So we at least got you one way there. And that's 12,000 miles total 12,000 miles total for all 4 people to get there. And on the way home, you can see again another 12,500. So this should be bookable with Etihad miles, non-stop for 3,000 miles, which is 24,000 miles round trip or total, not per person, 6,000 miles round trip per person to do that, which is a really solid value. Now, it is $260 at the cheapest, so you'd have to compare if it's worth it to you to burn your miles that way, because after you take into account taxes and fees, you're burning them for roughly, we'll say 1 cent per point on the lowest end via the cash price here. But if you're looking to save overall money, burning them via Etihad via GOL is a good option for you. If you were to look at like Award Hacker will actually have Avios as a really good option for you. And if you even took into account the 40% transfer bonus you get from membership rewards, it would still be 18,000 miles one way for all 4 of you, being 36,000 miles. So you're going to save more miles to do this. Now, after you transfer your points out to Asia Miles to get you round trip to Sao Paulo, you would have about 8,000 points remaining in your account via thank you points for Etihad. So you need to get more points in your account in order to take advantage of the GOL Etihad use of your points and miles. You can either do that by using the cards you have to spend enough money to earn those points. You can open another credit card for those. Now, a couple things you do want to consider with using Asia Miles as well as Etihad, you're probably going to be spending a lot of time on the phone. Both are going to take a long time to get this through. You want to make sure to write down the flight numbers and the time that you're going to be flying so you can kind of feed these to the representatives. With Asia Miles, you can actually fax them a form if you want to, or you can call them. I would prefer to call them myself, although the wait times could be quite long. And with Etihad, as I've said before, the representatives aren't always the greatest, but calling them is going to be your need here to book GOL with those miles. Another option I did look at, and it would cost you more if you're looking for simplistic use, you can actually use like Singapore Airline KrisFlyer miles to book round trip from Boston to Sao Paulo. It would be 120,000 points one way for all four of you, so 240,000 points round trip. Taxes and fees were really low as well, but you don't have enough miles for that right now in your account. Singapore KrisFlyer miles are very easy in the fact that they're partners of pretty much everyone. So if you're looking to just use that and not have to make a phone call and you're cool with burning extra points and miles, completely up to you. I would look to book with Singapore KrisFlyer miles. So if you're looking for simplistic, I'd look Singapore. If you're looking to do a little bit more legwork and get yourself extra value out of your points, I would really look to use your Asia miles here because they are transfer partners of both thank you points and membership rewards. But if it were me, I'd probably look to use my thank you points first, transfer all 80,000 over, and then I would move over the remaining amount I would need from membership reward points to top up my account for your flight. But that is how I would book this flight, Diago. Be sure to let us know how you booked this because, you know, I'm interested in how you end up booking it. Do you go simplistic or do you put a little bit more legwork into it? But you have the tools here to find the award space, to make that phone call. So be sure to let us know how you book it. I'm really excited to hear that. And if you're someone who wants to be potentially featured in an award booking demonstration video, be sure to fill out my award booking demonstration form. I do have that in the description below. But hey, if you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you know somebody who might benefit from this video, feel free to share it with them. And if you want to help support the channel, a simple way is use links on the website or in the description below. If you like learning about credit cards, points, miles, cash back, or just flat out traveling for less, consider the subscribe button down below. And until next time, safe travels and take care.